Well, hello and welcome everyone to our live stream today. We are so happy to have all of you in attendance for what is a very important topic today. My name's Jen and I'm the Student Success Coach here at Essential Education. Always thrilled to come to you in any format and talk about any area of life change, whether that be study to obtain your high school equivalency credential, job-ready tips and tools to get you ready for that next chapter in life, or a session like we'll talk about today where I try to help you and get you connected with resources to just understand all of the stuff that comes along with this transition for getting your credential and then moving forward for your next steps in life. There can be paperwork, rules, regulations, different things to take note of. And I always say it would be such a shame for you to put in all this time and preparation into study, into all of these efforts, and then miss a deadline or just not know you were supposed to do something in your particular state. And when it comes to today's subject, there are a lot of details. You'll see me checking notes from time to time because I want to do my very best to help to give you the latest up-to-date information when it comes to at-home testing for the GED and the HiSET on that road to get your credential. As you know, we've learned a lot in the last 10 months in lots of aspects of life, and at-home testing for the GED and HiSET has been no exception. If you push back and you think about it, we're still not even a year into this very new offering because prior to April of 2020, there was absolutely no way to legally and to have a legal valid option to test at home for your credential. But the test makers for GED and HiSET saw a need. They wanted to cater to those that may be in areas that are still in a shutdown due to our now worldwide pandemic so that you didn't get stalled, you didn't get stuck, and that you could test in a safe environment. So both GED and HiSET have provided routes for that. You'll notice I'm leaving one out today. I'm not speaking about TASC today because as we film this video today, that might change in the future, but as we are streaming live today, TASC has yet to provide an at-home testing option. If you are in a state like New York or Indiana, West Virginia, or Rhode Island, where TASC is your only path to your high school equivalency credential, you will need to still continue to seek avenues to test in person in your local area. And they are still there. There'll be social distancing parameters in place. There'll be some maybe fewer testing options for you there as far as timeframes because they can't accommodate as many people at one time. But don't get discouraged. If you live in any of those states that are TASC only, they are working very, very hard to accommodate you in that regard. But if you are a GED or a HiSET tester, then by and large, I put a caveat on that, a little disclaimer, by and large, you do have at-home testing options that are available to you. And you need to be aware of some of the rules, requirements, even technology needs that you need to check off in order to test at home. So let's jump in. Again, you'll see me referencing my notes because these are very detailed things that we'll go over today. So let's start with state rules. As always, whenever you are taking your steps to obtain your high school equivalency credential, starting with your state rules and regulations is essential, especially when it comes to at-home testing. At present, for the GED, you can test in all U.S. states and all U.S. territories online, with the exception of Oklahoma. If you are in Oklahoma, the Oklahomians still need to go to their still need to go to their local testing centers. Currently in Oklahoma, there are not at-home testing options available to you. These do vary by state. If you're taking the HiSET, same thing. They vary by state and they are not available in all areas. So the first thing you need to do if you're interested in at-home testing is go to GED.com or go to HiSET.org and search and click your state to find out what your availability is. You may find that you can't test at home in your state. You may also start going through those rules and regulations and realize that you don't meet the age requirements to test in your state. While this has expanded a little bit since the kickoff of this at-home testing program, there are still many states that do not allow you to test at home if you are under the age of 18. I know that's been very disappointing for some of our younger testers who are anxious to make that transition into college, but work through those guidelines. For the HiSET, they've set kind of a general nuance that you need to be 18 or over to test, but they do have a little disclaimer in there that says if you are 16 or 17 and you live in a state that is open to at-home testing, then there are some extra hoops you can jump through with some paperwork, and you can file an official request based on your individual circumstances so that you can test if you are under the age of 18. So start with state, see if it's available in your area, then check out those age requirements if you are under 18. And then also take note of any prerequisites that you need to have going into the test. Specifically, if you are hoping to take the GED at home, the GED National Testing Service requires that you have a green score on your GED Ready test prior to taking the official exam at home. In other words, within the 60 days leading up to when you hope to take your official exam, you have to have a green score, that green stamp of approval, in any of the subjects that you are hoping to test at home in an official capacity. So make sure that you meet those prerequisite requirements. Alrighty. As a part of your registration process, you will see not only these individual personal requirements that you have to have, whether it's age or whether it's those prerequisites. You'll also see a list of technology-based requirements that you need to have in place. And this can vary from state to state or area to area, but I'm just going to hit some of the ones that are in general. First of all, if you hope to test at home, you do have to have a laptop or a desktop computer. No testing on a tablet. Even if it clicks into a fancy keyboard, no testing on a tablet, no testing on a phone is allowed. You have to have a desktop or a laptop, and it has to be fitted with a webcam. Why does it have to be fitted with a webcam? Because you still have to be watched by a real person. As these sites say, a human proctor, no robotic proctors here. You have to be watched by a human proctor during these exams. It's the only way for you to have a legal, valid exam. So that webcam has to be on you at all times. And there are some really specific things when it comes to what you can and cannot do during the test. We'll get to that in just a second because I want to talk some more about these technology requirements. So desktop, laptop, no phones, no tablets. You do have to run a system test. You have to make sure that the equipment that you have is compatible to the testing program set up by GED or HiSET. You also have to enroll at no cost, but still there's some paperwork and some things that you have to fill out. You have to enroll with the preferred proctoring, again, that's the person that's going to watch you take the test, the preferred proctoring service for either the GED or the HiSET. For instance, HiSET uses an organization called ProctorU. If you have kids, they may have gone through ProctorU for SAT, ACT, some of their other exams that are now being offered at home. But ProctorU is the preferred provider for HiSET, and GED has their own version of that as well. You'll need to enroll with these proctoring organizations. And again, do that system test. Make sure that you have everything you need so that you're ready to roll, you're ready to go at home come test day. Because there are some very specific things that you need to be aware of that you can or cannot do during the test itself. For instance, once you kick off that exam and the proctor is there, your time will not start until they unlock your exam. But once you meet that proctor, you'll have access to that chat host or to that chat function. where you can ask some logistical questions, but you may not ask any questions about the test content. So as you get in, just like if you were in a live classroom environment, you can't raise your hand and say, I have questions about number 4. I don't understand what it means. You can't ask any of those types of questions. The chat host is there to help get you settled and help you to get some of these technology things in place. But by and large, the expectation is that you have these up and ready to go. Once you're there, it's kind of the same thing that it would be in a regular testing environment. You have to prove that you are really you. You have to have your government issued ID. You have to move the webcam around the room and show that you have a complete solo environment. There's no one else in the room with you. They require 4 walls and a door, and that door to be closed. You have to show that all of your technology, all of your notes, all of your paperwork is out of the way. It's out of reach and it's out of your eye line. They prefer to have the walls bare, especially of any testing materials or anything that could infer that you're using any materials to help you on the test. You can't talk to yourself to give the impression that you are talking to someone else in the room. You can't take physical notes during the test. For the GED, they will have a scratch pad available there for you online. So that digital scratch pad, you can jump in, take notes, work out those math problems as you go along the way, but you are not allowed to write physical notes. HiSET's a little bit different. They will allow you to have a dry erase board where you can write out those notes, work out those math problems, map out your writing outline for the essay. They'll allow you to have that, but that proctor needs to see that it's blank when you start, and then they need to see you erase it when you're done. There's some very specific guidelines that they have in place just to make sure that everything is on the up and up. Here's another thing. During the test, you may not leave for any reason. There are no breaks that are built into your at-home testing. That includes the bathroom. That includes getting up to help a child with something. You've got to schedule this time out, set it aside, distraction-free, no other responsibilities, just like you would if you were going into a testing center. Because if you break any of these rules, including if you leave the frame of the webcam and they can't see you anymore, guess what? If that webcam can't see you anymore, your test is invalidated. If you get up and go to the restroom, your test is invalidated. If you start using notes, your test is invalidated. If they feel like there's something in your room once the test gets started, if they see you looking at your phone, guess what? Your test is invalidated. And not only do you lose that testing opportunity, you lose the money that you paid to go along with that. And depending on what you did or what happens or what penalty they want to incur, you could be banned from future testing. So please, 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 I don't say any of these rules or regulations to scare you. I say them to give you the information that you need going into at-home testing. You also can't snack. You can't have any granola bars or sodas or energy drink, or, oh my goodness, you can't have any coffee there while you're testing. You can have water, but it needs to be in a clear glass. These are very specific rules and guidelines that are there provided by the test makers. Again, breaking any of these rules could lead to your exam being canceled, loss of your payment, and you could be banned from future testing, and you just don't want that to happen. It sounds like a lot, and it is. But again, knowledge is power, and getting to know what you need to specifically test at home is one of those ways that you can create your personal checklist. So let's review some of these things today. The first thing you need to check is your state. Does your state allow at-home testing? Do you qualify for it based on your age? Do you have all the technology needs that you need to be able to test at home? Do you have a laptop or a desktop that's fit with a webcam? Do you have a strong internet connection? Do you have the ability to turn off all of your notifications and all other windows? Those are things that you will need to have happen. Do you have a private location in your home with 4 walls and a door that can be shut where you can get that secure, private, distraction-free environment? All of those things are very, very important. And then here's another thing. Show up on time the day of the test in advance. Test makers are recommending at least 30 minutes in advance so you can run these system checks. You should have already done that ahead of time, but so you can double, triple, quadruple check everything before you go into the testing environment. You don't want something to go awry, if at all possible, once you meet that proctoring chat host and go from there. Otherwise, things are very, very similar. You can expect same-day scoring as opposed to, with the exception of the essay, you can expect to get that personalized score report. Everything after runs very, very similar as it would in person at the test center. But your registration process is a little bit different, definitely more complicated on what you need to bring to the table from a technology standpoint, and then some different rules and regulations that you need to be aware of. Go straight to the source. If you have, I would even say, don't rely on everything we've given you today. We're trying to be as detailed as possible and letting you know about some of these at-home testing, again, little pieces of the puzzle. Go straight to the source. Go to GED.com, go to HiSET.org. Both of them have very detailed website information. They both have tutorial videos about what this might look like. They're very detailed. Jump into it. Again, that's where you're going to go to get your state information. So go to GED.com, go to HiSET.org, click at home or online testing and get everything you need to know to be prepared. Again, it would be a shame if you spend all this time, effort, money, energy into preparing for these exams and you get lost in the process and you just don't know what to do day of or in the registration end of getting ready to take the test. We are committed to your full success and we're committing to helping you every step of the way. If you are not already enrolled as a student with Essential Education and you'd like to learn more about how we can personally prepare you in those content, in those subject areas, then reach out. I'll put some links in our chat together today, essentialed.com, click on students, and you can learn about our whole array and line of services, not only to help you get ready for these exams, but again, help you take those next steps forward in work and life. And in addition to these live streams, we often come together and meet in live coaching sessions where we'll get to talk about not only study-based resources, but some of these process things, some specific test-taking tools, some study-building tools to bring everything together because your success truly is our goal. We know that you can do this. We know that you can get that credential in hand, and we want to give you every resource and every help possible to do that. Thanks so much for joining us today. If you have any questions at all, reach out to our student help team at 1-800-460-8150 or send us an email, studenthelp@essentialed.com, and check out those resources at GED.com and HiSET.org. Testing at home is possible. You just have to know what to do. Thanks so much and have a great day.